I'd like to bring up Senator Bob Menendez, who has been one of our strongest voices on the Senate side on this myth that has affected all of us. So at this time, I'd like to bring in Senator Bob Menendez to comment.
Thank you, Chairman. Let me thank Chairman Baca and my colleague, Congressman Gutierrez and Congresswoman Solis, my dear friend Javier Becerra as well, and the Congressional Hispanic Caucus for leading on this issue, which I think is broader than the Hispanic Caucus, to be very honest. I'll talk about that in a moment. And particularly Media Matters for focusing on this important topic. I read their report with great interest, and I intend to use it on the floor of the Senate to speak about some of the issues that I'm increasingly concerned about. I appreciate the courtesy of going out of order because I have to preside over the Senate in just a few minutes. So, but I wanted to lend my voice of support to an effort to shine a spotlight on the type of coverage of immigration, and my voice of concern over where this type of coverage is taking our society. The report does a tremendous job of documenting the type of language and the extent of the myths that we hear on certain shows, and it shows us just how pervasive it is, and how often, as the chairman indicated in one case, how often that myth is perpetuated. The way immigrants are described, the myths and exaggerations that are perpetrated, the legitimacy that this type of fear-mongering is given, these aren't just interesting facts. To me, these are trends that should alarm anyone who believes in the core values of this nation, of immigrants. The more this characterization of immigrants and misinformation about immigration are repeated and echoed, the more the public believes them to be true. If you are told time and time again in alarmist language that there is a horde of outsiders stampeding the land, taking your jobs and your hard-earned money, seeking to reclaim the southwestern part of the United States, well, you're going to begin to hate people who are being blamed, and you're going to start hating anyone who looks like them. So I don't think it's only a small coincidence that this type of misinformation on TV has increased, that at the same time that that has happened, so have hate crimes against Latinos in the country. If you look at the FBI's latest report on bias crimes, you'll see the number of hate crimes that have come up that are based on bias of ethnicity is against Latinos. In a very diverse country, greatest increase is against Latinos. It's not just the undocumented, however, who take the brunt of this anti-immigrant sentiment. It's anyone who resembles them. And we're talking about legal permanent residents and American citizens born in this country, all who have played by the rules and are trying to live the American dream like everyone else. It's manifested in ways like immigration raids in which U.S. citizens and legal permanent residents of the United States are detained and in some cases deported. We have one case where a U.S. citizen was deported to Mexico. Now, what other group in America would allow their citizenship to be infringed in such a way? To have the very basic rights as derived from the Constitution be eroded. And all of us care about those rights. I haven't seen virtually anything, program here, program there, but you would think there would be an enormous alarm about U.S. citizens and those who have followed the law, legal permanent residents, and being treated in such a way where they are detained, notwithstanding showing their information, whether that be a driver's license or a social security number, or in the case, I do not have something that proves my citizenship. I have a driver's license and I have a social security card, but if that's not good enough, then I could be detained as well. And that is what's happening. We have over 190 cases across the country in which this is happening, that we know. These are simply un-American. They violate the very core of the Constitution that makes us a symbol of freedom throughout the world. We know that our immigration system is broken. Everyone in this room, our colleagues in Congress and TV personalities alike, we all want to figure out a solution that protects our borders, our economy, and our American values. But if we are going to have a productive, civil debate about it, we have to come to the table with facts, not misinformation, with respect for one another, not hate. Unfortunately, some of the people who have the loudest bullhorns in the media are using them to perpetuate myths and create distrust in the American public. You know, if the light of intolerance in this country, the light of tolerance, I should say, in this country, continues to fade beneath the shadows of fear, we'll all see consequences far more terrible than we can even imagine. That has dangerous consequences, not just for the Latino community, which has become a target, but for the ideals and values that this nation is built on. Let me briefly say in Spanish, para mí, yo le agradezco al presidente del Congreso Hispano y los colegas en la Cámara y a la agencia Media Matters que ha puesto este reporte para enseñar que tenemos una situación en la cual muchos de los canales de televisión, sobre todo de cable, tienen programas que abren en una forma que yo pienso, para mí, discriminan contra nuestra comunidad. Y lo ponen en una luz al inmigrante, en la peor luz que es posible. Y la realidad es que las consecuencias de esa forma de enseñar a nuestra comunidad crea un concepto negativo, crea injusticias y en realidad nos afecta a todos. Cuando vemos que ciudadanos americanos, que residentes legales permanentes están siendo detenidos en redadas de inmigración con impunidad, y cuando vemos la actitud de muchos de estos canales que hablan de nosotros de una forma que es tan discriminatoria, aunque hemos contribuido enormemente, hemos echado nuestra sangre para este país y actualmente hemos contribuido económicamente, no solamente nos duele, pero nos violan nuestros derechos abajo de la Constitución. Y actualmente es una vía en la cual todo buscamos, pues lo vamos a ver en un riesgo mucho más. Y por eso yo espero que nuestra comunidad esté mirando a quién es que actualmente está teniendo este tipo de programas, qué es lo que están diciendo y quién son los que están patrocinando esos programas. Porque nuestro poder económico de más de 100.000 millones de dólares en este país es un poder que debemos usar de una forma constructiva para decir no aceptamos las mentiras, no aceptamos la forma en que estamos siendo definidos por ciertos elementos de la prensa que actualmente nos crea un gran riesgo a nuestros derechos, a nuestra Constitución, a la forma que tenemos que. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.